Sspdf captures Tanya from Splao in Upper Nile State. Tanya, Upper Nile, August 31, 2025. Heavy fighting erupted over the weekend in Upper Nile State, culminating in the capture of Tanya town by the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, Sspdf, from the main armed opposition group, the Sudan People's Liberation Army in Opposition, SPLAIO, military and local sources said Sunday. Residents reported intense clashes on Saturday evening as Sspdf units advanced into Tanya, which has been under SPLAIO control for months amid renewed hostilities in the oil-rich Upper Nile region. A senior military officer in Malakal confirmed the development, stating that Tanya is now fully under government control. He said the operation was aimed at restoring stability but did not provide casualty figures. However, SPLAIO officials accused the Sspdf of launching unprovoked attacks in violation of the 2018 revitalized peace agreement. This capture is not just a military move. It is a clear message that Juba is committed to war rather than peace, a spokesperson for the opposition told Sudan's Post. The fighting has triggered fresh displacement, with humanitarian workers warning that civilians are fleeing towards nearby counties amid fears of retaliation. Upper Nile has been a flashpoint of conflict since the start of the year, with clashes between pro-government forces, SPLAIO, and community-based armed groups. Political analysts warn that the escalation could undermine fragile peace efforts and deepen divisions within the ruling coalition, especially as parliament is already embroiled in disputes over accountability and governance. For now, the Sspdf maintains its hold on Tanya, but observers say the battle for control of Upper Nile is far from over. Fresh clashes rock Upper Nile as Sspdf captures Tanya. SPLAIO repels attack in Longochuk. Upper Nile State, August 31, 2025. The security situation in South Sudan's Upper Nile has further deteriorated after heavy fighting between government forces and the armed opposition left control of key areas contested. On Saturday, the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, Sspdf, announced the capture of Tanya town, seizing it from the main opposition faction, the Sudan People's Liberation Army in Opposition, SPLAIO. Local residents described hours of fierce gunfire before Sspdf troops established full control of the town. A senior Sspdf commander in Malakal told Sudan's Post that the operation was aimed at restoring order in the strategic area, but did not disclose casualties. However, in a separate development, the SPLAIO claimed victory in Longochuk County, saying its forces repelled an Sspdf invasion in intense clashes that left government troops withdrawing. The government is undermining the peace agreement, but our forces remain strong and committed to defending our territories, an opposition spokesperson said. The conflicting battlefield reports underscore the fragile situation in Upper Nile, which has seen a surge in violence in recent months. Humanitarian groups warn that continued clashes are driving thousands of civilians from their homes, adding to the region's already dire displacement crisis. Analysts say the renewed fighting reflects widening mistrust between Juba and the opposition, raising fears of a broader escalation that could unravel the 2018 revitalized peace agreement. For now, Tanya remains under Sspdf control, while Longochuk stays in opposition hands, setting the stage for further confrontations in the coming days. UPDF troops increase presence in Juba as fighting escalates in Upper Nile. Juba, August 31, 2025. The Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF, have increased their presence in South Sudan's capital, Juba, amid fresh clashes in Upper Nile State that have deepened concerns about regional stability. Heavy fighting was reported this week in Longochuk County and in Tonga, Paniakang County, between the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, Sspdf, and the Sudan People's Liberation Army in Opposition, SPLAIO. The renewed battles come only days after government troops captured Tanya town, while opposition forces repelled another offensive in Longochuk. Residents of Juba told Sudan's Post that UPDF troop movement and patrols increased over the weekend, with soldiers seen in several strategic locations. The purpose of the deployment remains unclear, but the timing has sparked speculation that Kampala may be responding to escalating insecurity in Upper Nile or acting under a security arrangement with Juba. Neither the Ugandan government nor the South Sudanese authorities have issued an official statement regarding the troop presence. Analysts warn that the developments could mark a new phase of regional involvement in South Sudan's fragile conflict. Uganda has historically intervened militarily in South Sudan, most notably during the outbreak of civil war in 2013, when it deployed forces in support of President Salva Kiir's government. Humanitarian agencies fear the latest fighting could trigger new displacement, with civilians from Tonga and Longochuk reportedly fleeing towards safer areas along the Nile. The situation remains tense, with both Sspdf and SPLAIO trading claims of battlefield victories, as the fragile 2018 revitalized peace agreement continues to teeter under strain. Heavy fighting was reported this week in Longochuk County and in Tonga, Paniakang County, between the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, Sspdf, and the Sudan People's Liberation Army in opposition, SPLAIO. The renewed battles come only days after government troops captured Tanya town, while opposition forces repelled another offensive in Longochuk. Residents of Juba told Sudan's Post that UPDF troop movement and patrols increased over the weekend, with soldiers seen in several strategic locations. The purpose of the deployment remains unclear, but the timing has sparked speculation that Kampala may be responding to escalating insecurity in Upper Nile or acting under a security arrangement with Juba. Neither the Ugandan government nor the South Sudanese authorities have issued an official statement regarding the troop presence. Analysts warn that the developments could mark a new phase of regional involvement in South Sudan's fragile conflict. Uganda has historically intervened militarily in South Sudan, most notably during the outbreak of civil war in 2013, when it deployed forces in support of President Salva Kiir's government. Background: Uganda's military role in South Sudan. 2013 Civil War outbreak. When South Sudan's conflict erupted in December 2013, Uganda quickly deployed UPDF forces to Juba and other key areas to secure the capital and protect President Salva Kiir's government against advancing SPLAIO forces loyal to Riek Machar. Battle of Bor. 2014 UPDF troops played a decisive role in helping government forces recapture Bor from opposition forces, marking one of the first major regional interventions in the war. 2015 to 2016 withdrawal talks. Under regional and international pressure, Uganda began gradually withdrawing most of its combat troops, though reports of limited UPDF presence and security cooperation persisted. Strategic ties. Uganda has maintained strong political, economic, and military ties with Juba, often framing its involvement as necessary for regional security and to protect trade corridors between the two countries. Humanitarian concerns. Humanitarian agencies fear the latest fighting could trigger new displacement, with civilians from Tonga and Longochuk reportedly fleeing towards safer areas along the Nile. The situation remains tense, with both Sspdf and SPLAIO trading claims of battlefield victories, as the fragile 2018 revitalized peace agreement continues to teeter under strain. White Army forces Sspdf retreat from Tanya in Upper Nile. Tanya, Upper Nile, August 31, 2025. The South Sudan People's Defense Forces, Sspdf, have been forced to withdraw from Tanya town in Upper Nile state after a powerful counteroffensive by the White Army, reversing earlier government claims of victory in the area. Residents and military sources told Sudan's Post that heavily armed White Army fighters, a community-based force largely composed of newer youth, launched a late-night assault on Saturday, overwhelming Sspdf positions and driving government troops back toward Malakal. The government thought they had secured Tanya, but the White Army stormed in with force. By morning, the Sspdf was gone, a local resident said. Background to the fighting. On Saturday evening, the Sspdf announced that it had captured Tanya from the Sudan People's Liberation Army in opposition, SPLAIO, after hours of fierce clashes. The capture was touted by government commanders as a strategic victory that would shift momentum in Upper Nile. But within hours, the White Army mobilized and launched a swift counterattack, retaking the town and undermining the Sspdf's hold. Opposition officials have since confirmed that Tanya is back under SPLAIO-aligned control. Regional escalation. Tanya's reversal comes amid escalating battles across Upper Nile. In Longochuk County, SPLAIO forces claim to have repelled a government invasion earlier in the week. In Tonga, Paniakang County, fresh clashes were reported between the rival forces. In Juba, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF, have quietly increased their presence, sparking speculation of regional involvement as the conflict intensifies. Implications of White Army involvement. The involvement of the White Army adds a volatile new dimension to the conflict. Historically mobilized along ethnic and communal lines, the White Army has played decisive roles in past wars, particularly in Upper Nile and Jonglei. Analysts warn that their participation could escalate violence beyond organized armed groups and risk triggering broader ethnic mobilization across the region. When the White Army moves, it's no longer just about SPLAIO versus Sspdf. It becomes a community war, and that's much harder to control, one conflict analyst noted. Humanitarian impact. Humanitarian organizations report that the fighting has already displaced hundreds of families from Tanya and surrounding villages. Civilians are reportedly fleeing toward Malakal and across the Nile, raising fears of worsening humanitarian conditions in an already fragile state. Aid workers warn that if the violence spreads, Upper Nile could see one of its largest waves of displacement since 2016. Conclusion: the situation in Upper Nile remains highly fluid. With Tanya back in opposition hands after the White Army's intervention and Longochuk and Tonga under renewed pressure, the region risks sliding into a prolonged conflict that could undermine the 2018 peace agreement. Analysis: rising violence in GPA highlights fragile security in eastern South Sudan. September 1, 2025, Juba. The armed attack on Jebel Boma's main market over the weekend, which left 2 people dead and 3 traders injured, has underscored the deepening insecurity across South Sudan's volatile eastern frontier. The Greater Pibor Administrative Area, GPA, long plagued by armed raids, intercommunal clashes, and cross-border incursions, is once again at the center of concern. A pattern of violence. Saturday's assault, in which security forces and traders were targeted, mirrors a wider trend of violence in GPA and neighboring Jonglei state. Unidentified gunmen often exploit weak local security structures, porous borders with Ethiopia and Sudan, and the absence of sustained government control to carry out attacks. Officials in Pibor have repeatedly warned that criminal groups and armed youth militias are taking advantage of the security vacuum. The closure of the Jebel Boma market, a critical hub for trade with Sudan and Ethiopia, further highlights the vulnerability of local economies to sudden disruptions. Regional instability driving local insecurity. The attack comes at a time when conflict in Sudan is spilling across the border, threatening both humanitarian stability and commercial networks. Traders from Sudan and Ethiopia are key to markets in eastern South Sudan, and insecurity in those countries compounds local tensions. Meanwhile, Upper Nile and Jonglei have seen renewed fighting between the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, Sspdf, the SPLAIO, and community defense groups like the White Army. Analysts warn that these overlapping conflicts could embolden armed actors in GPA, who often operate outside formal command structures. Political and economic fallout. For Juba, the violence raises urgent questions about the state's capacity to provide security in hard-to-reach areas. The GPA is governed under a special arrangement recognizing its history of marginalization, but residents continue to complain of neglect and poor service delivery. If insecurity continues, it risks undermining not only local stability, but also regional trade routes vital to South Sudan's fragile economy already under strain from recent oil shutdown threats in Sudan. Outlook. Security analysts fear that without targeted intervention, attacks like the one in Jebel Boma could escalate into broader intercommunal violence or cross-border clashes. Local leaders have called for more Sspdf deployments, but resource constraints and competing security priorities in Upper Nile and Juba make sustained protection unlikely. The Jebel Boma incident serves as a stark reminder. South Sudan's east remains one of the most fragile corners of the country, where local insecurity is increasingly intertwined with the wider regional conflict dynamics. Breaking news. September 1, 2025, Longochuk, Upper Nile State. Heavy fighting erupted this morning between forces of the Sudan People's Liberation Movement in opposition, SPLMIO, and the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, Sspdf, in Longochuk County. Field reports indicate that SPLMIO fighters have seized Mathayang headquarters, the administrative center of Longochuk, after intense clashes that broke out at dawn. Casualty figures remain unclear, but eyewitnesses describe heavy gunfire and mortar shelling that forced residents to flee the town. Local sources say SSBDF forces have retreated toward nearby garrisons, while SPLMIO units are consolidating control of key positions in and around the county headquarters. The takeover marks a significant escalation in Upper Nile State, which has been the scene of intermittent clashes between government forces, SPLMIO, and community militias in recent months. Neither the SSBDF nor SPLMIO leadership has issued an official statement on the latest fighting. However, the capture of Mathayang, if confirmed, could shift the balance of control in the Upper Nile region and heighten fears of a broader return to war. Civilians in Longochuk are reported to be on the move toward the Ethiopian border, raising fresh humanitarian concerns in a region already destabilized by conflict and food insecurity. 3 newer men released after unlawful detention by Tiger Division in Juba. Juba, September 1, 2025. 3 men who were abducted last week in Juba by soldiers of the Presidential Tiger Division have been released after several days in detention, relatives and civil society actors confirmed. The men, Gatdiat Peter, a dual Dutch, South Sudanese citizen, along with Ma Sap Koang and Gatjang Dojer, were taken from a tea stall in the capital's Hai Thura neighborhood last Tuesday evening. Witnesses said the abductors, dressed in Tiger Division uniforms, forced the men into a vehicle and drove them away. A case built on false accusations. According to family members, the detainees were initially held by the Tiger Division and later handed over to a National Security Service (NSS) facility near the riverside. The men were accused of supporting the opposition Sudan People's Liberation Movement in Opposition, SPLMIO. Relatives strongly rejected the allegations, describing them as fabricated. The case was based on false accusations that Gatdiat, who came from the Netherlands, supports SPLMIO, and that Ma Sap is an SPLAIO officer. None of this is true, said Bichiak Gatchuang, a family representative. 2 of the men were freed on Saturday, while Gatdiat was released on Sunday, but ordered to remain in Juba for 3 weeks under state monitoring. Authorities returned their belongings, including phones, cash, and a vehicle, and the men reported they had not been subjected to physical abuse during detention. Gatchuang further disclosed that the accusations had been instigated by a newer member of the Tiger Division, fueling concerns that internal rivalries and ethnic targeting are being misused within security institutions. Civil society condemnation. The unlawful detention sparked condemnation from civil society. Edmund Yekani, executive director of the Community Empowerment for Progress organization, CEPO, welcomed the men's release, but called the episode a stark reminder of the dangers posed by security organs acting outside the law. Unlawful arrests and detentions are a violation of citizens' rights and paint a negative image of the government, Yakani told reporters. If a person has committed a crime, let the police investigate and bring them before a competent court. But using national security and military units for arbitrary arrests undermines the rule of law. Yakani urged the new Chief Justice and judicial leadership to prioritize reforms that would rein in overreach by security agencies, warning that such practices risk undermining ongoing efforts to build confidence in the justice system. Wider context, a pattern of arbitrary arrests. Arbitrary arrests have become a recurring feature of South Sudan's security landscape. Human rights organizations have long accused the National Security Service and military intelligence units of operating with impunity, detaining civilians without charges and often without access to lawyers or family. In 2022, the UN Commission on Human Rights in South Sudan documented dozens of cases of enforced disappearances and prolonged detention without trial, calling on Juba to dismantle the shadow justice system run by the security organs. The Tiger Division, officially tasked with protecting the president and key state institutions, has also faced repeated accusations of overstepping its constitutional role by arresting civilians. Diaspora concerns. The detention of Gatdiat Peter, a Dutch citizen, has attracted concern among the South Sudanese diaspora in Europe, who fear their return to the country could expose them to similar risks. A community leader in The Hague, contacted by Radio Temizuj, said, "This case has shocked many of us. Gatiat returned home for his wedding, only to be accused of rebel links and arrested. The government must reassure diaspora South Sudanese that they can visit their country safely." Diplomatic sources in Juba privately acknowledged awareness of the case, but declined to comment on whether the Dutch embassy intervened during Gatiat's detention. Calls for accountability. Activists say the release of the three men should not close the matter and are calling for an independent investigation into the role of the Tiger Division. If a soldier makes false accusations leading to someone's detention, that soldier must be held accountable, Yakani stressed. Otherwise, these abuses will continue unchecked. As of Monday evening, neither the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, Sspdf, nor the Presidential Press Unit had issued an official statement regarding the arrests and release. For the families of the released men, relief is tempered by caution. "We thank God they are free, but our fear is that this could happen again to anyone," said Gachuang. "We urge the government to stop such unlawful actions." Juba, reports from Jonglei State indicate that government forces loyal to President Salva Kiir, supported by Vice President Dr. Benjamin Bolmel, have launched aerial bombardments on Mat area in PG County. Local sources say the strikes targeted populated areas, displacing residents and worsening an already fragile humanitarian situation marked by food shortages and lack of basic services. This is not the first time PG County has been subjected to airstrikes. Community leaders have expressed concern that repeated military operations are destabilizing the region and hindering efforts at dialogue and reconciliation. The government has not yet issued a statement regarding the reported bombardments. Once again, President Salva Kiir's government, in collaboration with his son-in-law Vice President Dr. Benjamin Bolmel, has carried out aerial bombardments on Mat area in PG County, Jonglei State. This deliberate targeting of civilians comes as communities already face hunger, displacement, and lack of services. Instead of pursuing peace and reconciliation, the government has chosen to unleash bombs on its own citizens. The people of PG County have endured repeated airstrikes, a campaign many describe as systematic oppression and a violation of international humanitarian law. Local voices stress that these attacks amount to war crimes and demand urgent international attention. Peace cannot be built through bombs. Justice cannot be silenced through fear, one resident told reporters, vowing that the resilience of the people will outlast the weapons of war. Recently this week, the newer traditional magician by the name Makuch Tut endorsed the White Army and declare war on a government, which lead by President Salvation Kiir, and urged White Army to take over the upper capital city, Malakal, and give permission to all over IO factions around South Sudan to start over everywhere, even around Juba City.